Welcome to Open Range. I'm your host, Gary Emineth. Marlo Anderson talked about batteries. He was recently at the CCSI show in Las Vegas where they covered batteries and disposing of them and a lot of technology with it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Marlo Anderson.
We've been using these particular things for our entire lives. And what I'm talking about are these right here, batteries. And the challenge that we have with them is that they're wonderful, they're convenient. We run our flashlights and our cars and everything on batteries nowadays, right? Our cell phones. But what do we do with them when they stop working? And this has become a bigger and bigger issue as we use more and more batteries. And one of the things with them is that, and I just pulled this one out of the drawer, as a matter of fact. You can see, just look at the damage on the end of this thing here, a little acid coming out of this thing, whatever. And I should be maybe covering up the brand, but they all suffer from the same problem. If they're damaged somehow or another, they can cause issues. And another thing that happens is when you throw them away, let's say you throw a couple of them away, and maybe the positives or the negatives match up with each other in some weird way and they short out. Even what you think is dead batteries, most batteries still contain some type of charge, just not enough charge to maybe run your device. So you chuck them away. I've done it myself. I do it all the time. I ran into Anne at CS, and she had a very interesting story that she shared that you're going to be able to watch here about the number of fires that are caused simply because of the batteries that we throw away. So there's a movement on right now to dispose of batteries properly, and there's a familiar character within this story.
This is the Tech Ranch.
The Waste Recycling Association is very concerned because our workers are at risk. A lot of people are unknowingly tossing their old batteries into their recycling bins or their trash. And as a result, when they get to our trucks, they're causing fires in our trucks. They're causing fires at our facilities, transfer stations, recycling facilities, and landfills. And so we're here to try and encourage people to skip the bin and turn their batteries in.
Now, are you talking about like the double A's and triple A's that I have at home? Are you talking about like maybe old power packs that we have when we travel to charge our devices and things like that?
So we're talking all batteries, and part of the reason for that is that if you look at shapes of different batteries, they can still be any different chemistries. So if you say AA, that might be an alkaline battery, which is less of an impact, but it could also be a rechargeable lithium battery. And when you start getting into the different chemistry types, people get confused very quickly. So rather than focusing on different chemistry types, we're just encouraging people just to think batteries and think about skipping the bin with them.
What is the best solution when you have batteries that you want to throw away?
So at the end of life, ideally, they can be recycled. We have a website that you can go to, batterysafetynow.org. And if you go to that website, it will tell you where you can take the batteries. So that's the turn your batteries in part. If you just have to add your zip code and it'll tell you the nearest locations.
Do they have a process in place generally if you take your batteries out to the landfill that they will recycle them?
It depends on the facility. And so because we're doing it at a nationwide level, it's hard for us to give you a consistent answer from one facility to the next. You really have to check in with your local municipality on what's available. And so some areas will have lots of resources and lots of things available, and other areas will have absolutely nothing. And so what we're trying to do is give a universal response that's going to be applicable across the entire country, which is why we developed the website that tells you where you can take your batteries back.
Now, I know that when I have taken batteries that I thought were spent, and I'll put them in like in a Ziploc bag or something. And then a week later, I'll go and grab them. Oh my goodness, this thing's warm.
That's not good.
No, it's not good, because what happens is that some of these batteries there's actually a little charge left in all of them, right?
Yeah.
And the contacts are not contacting like they should or whatever. So person should not do that either.
So one of the things that we want people to understand, and so this is part of the reason why it's such a problem with us in the waste industry, is a dead battery doesn't necessarily mean it can't cause a fire. And so one of the things in particular, if you think about the way waste is handled, it usually goes in the back of a truck. The truck has a compactor. It's smushing things up. And so it can damage a battery. So often what happens is when you have the separator between the anode and the cathode, when that gets compromised, and that can result in a fire. And so that's why we have more fires in the waste industry, because we're not treating the batteries gently and like with care. We're like pretty much handling them as roughly as they can be handled. Woodsy Owl is our spokes owl, and he's right here. He's with the U.S. Forest Service, and he's agreed to be our spokes owl because he agrees this is a really important message. So we'd love for everybody to hear more about it. BatterySafetyNow.org.
All right.
So we want you to be safe with your batteries, right? So here's some tips that you can use to be battery safe, battery wise. So when you're using battery powered gadgets at home, use the charger it came with, keep those items and their batteries out of heat, and store the batteries and their gadgets in cool, dry places. Don't use a different charger than it came with. If you lose that charger, get an exact replacement. Don't find something that's cheaper, because a lot of times those don't work as well and can cause issues. When batteries can't hold charge anymore, remove the batteries from the item that they're powering. You've probably run into this too when you replace a battery and they're dead. If they sit there for a while, they start to corrode. They do all those type of things. I have this here. As a kid, I'd always stick them on my tongue to see if there's a charge. It's so tempting, right? So tempting. Yeah, it's still got a charge. For Beck Television, I'm Marlo Anderson.